Welcome to page 4 of the circle packet. Please check your packet and make sure you are on page 4. Circumference versus area. Before we begin, let's do some information dumping on the top of our page. Let's remind ourselves that let's draw 2 circles at the top of our page. Let's remind ourselves that a radius starts at the center and radiates out to the side. But a diameter is made up of 2 radii, and it goes from side to side, running right through the middle of the circle. The radius is the shorter line segment. The diameter is made up of 2 radii and is the longer line segment. And as we proceed through this packet, let's remember we're going to use the pi key on the calculator. The pi key is a rounded version of pi. However, it's the most accurate version we can use. This version of pi is 3.141592654. It is certainly a rounded version of pi. Now, let's read. Find the circumference and the area. Remember, circumference is the distance around the outside, and area is the flat surface on the inside for the given circle. Use the pi key and round to the tenths place. Let's take a look at the circle we've been given. Underneath the circle, please record little r and little d. If you look at the information that's been given inside this circle, we see that the radius is 5 centimeters. If we double that or multiply by 2, that means our diameter is 10 centimeters in length. We're going to use, though, the radius length to calculate the circumference and the area of this particular circle. Let's make a T-chart to separate the work we're going to be doing for circumference and the work we're going to be doing for area. The circumference formula, if you look back through your packet, is C equals pi times 2 times r. The area formula is just a little different. The area formula begins with the letter A. A equals pi times r times r. Please record both formulas on your sheet. Now, let's start with circumference. We're using linear units to measure the distance around the outside of this circle. Remember, circumference is the length around the outside of the circle. And we're going to be measuring this distance in centimeters. Let's substitute into our formula. C equals pi key times 2 times 5. Let's multiply 2 times 5 and tidy up our formula. We get 10 times pi key. Now take a moment and punch into your calculator 10 times pi key and record the entire amount shown on the screen on your paper. Pause the video if you need a bit of time to do this. You should have gotten 31.41592 654. we're going to round this answer, according to the directions, to the nearest tenth. So we mark the place values and we box in to the nearest tenth. We look just beside the box, and that 1 is not 5 or more to raise the score. So, using our approximate symbols, we know that the distance around the outside of the circle is approximately 31.4 centimeters. Now, let's find the area on the inside of the circle. Let's use the area formula. Let's substitute in step 2. Area equals pi times 5 times 5. Let's clean up the formula and simply multiply 5 times 5. 5 times 5 is 25 times pi. We still have to multiply 25 times the pi key. Take a moment, grab your calculator, and punch in 25 times pi key and hit equals. Pause your video if you need to. You should have gotten 78.53981634. Let's round to the tenths place. Mark your place values and box your answer to the tenths. Look at the 3 just outside of the box. It's not 5 or more to raise that score, so the area rounded to the tenths place is 78.5 square centimeters, or centimeters square. That's the amount of squares needed to cover the flat surface inside that circle. Let's move on to problem 2. In problem number 2, we are asked to find the circumference around the outside and find the area on the inside for the given circle. We're going to use the pi key again, but this time we're going to round to the hundredths place. Let's take a look at the circle that we've been given. If you look at this circle has a diameter of 8 meters. It stretches all the way across the circle. Under the circle, please write little r and little d. This is a diameter length of 8 meters. If we cut that in half to find the radius length, or we divide by 2, we get 4 meters for the radius. The radius length is the measurement we want to use when calculating circumference and area. Let's move over to the side and draw a T-chart separating the workspace for circumference and area. For circumference, we're going to be using the formula C equals pi times 2 times r. And for area, we're going to be using the formula area equals pi times r times r. Let's take a moment and calculate each of these. Step 2. C equals pi key times 2 times 4. Take a moment and multiply 2 times 4 to clean up the formula. That brings us to 8 times pi. Grab your calculator, take a moment and record the steps that we've written for circumference. Punch in 8 times pi key. Write the entire amount down that appears on your screen. If you need to pause the video, please do so. You should have gotten 25.13274,123. This time we're rounding to the hundredths place. What dot the heck tray? Mark your place values and box in the number to the hundredths place. Round to the hundredths place. The 2 is not 5 or more to raise that score. So rounded, you should get 25.13 centimeters. Now let's move on to area. Area equals pi times 4 times 4. Let's simply multiply 4 times 4 and rewrite the formula as area equals 16 times pi, or 16 pi. Pause the video, take a moment, and multiply 16 times pi key. Once you've punched 16 times pi into your calculator, you should see appear on your screen the area. Please write it on your sheet as it appears on the calculator. Now, in order to finish the problem, we are going to round to the hundredths place. We are going to identify our place value. What dot the heck tray? We see the 6 is in the hundredths place. Let's take a look at the 5 right outside the box. And since it's 5 or more to raise that score, we are going to round our final answer to 50.27 meters squared, or you can also label it square meters. Since it's a rounded answer, we use the approximate symbol. And remember, we use the label square meters because we're talking about the amount of square units it takes to cover the inside region or the flat surface inside this particular circle. This concludes the video on page 4. Please return your packets to the tray and complete page 5 tomorrow.